Hey, what's up guys? Tyler here with Secure Team. Today I want to discuss one of the most interesting and intriguing UFO cases that I've actually never featured here on the channel. But now that we have more information, I think it'd only be right to talk about it, and as you'll soon find out, if this story is true, if it's legit, then it may very well prove that there are not only alien craft or back-engineered alien craft using some sort of anti-gravity technology, but that these craft do exist in our oceans. So we're not just talking about space, we're talking about the sea. And we've spoken before about all of the reports of UFOs coming in and out of our oceans, both under the water and above. So I want to preface this case that we're going to talk about with a new report that has just come out recently about what is being called a massive submersible UFO that was spotted rising from the Gulf of Mexico. And it was reportedly sighted by a crew member of an offshore supply vessel in the Gulf of Mexico, so an oil rig, basically, who claims that he saw a UFO 5 times the size of his vessel rising up out of the water to around 40 feet in the air before very quickly disappearing, flying away at a 30-degree angle into the sky at what can only be described as some sort of hyperspeed. So here we are on a website called gcaptain.com. This is where it was first reported. The sighting was then given to an establishment called New Force, which is the National UFO Reporting Center, who spoke with the witness by telephone and has given their opinion that the sighting is legit and has asked the witnesses, if they exist, other than the person who reported this, to come forward. They spoke with the source of the report, indicated that he was, quote, unusually sober-minded, and that he is a very capable and very reliable witness. And he estimates that upwards of perhaps 50 people who were aboard nearby vessels may have witnessed this event as well. And so they are asking anybody who may have been in the Gulf of Mexico, starting at around March 20th to the 24th or 25th, to come out. So of course, I want to put that message out there. Anybody who witnessed something coming out of the water or moving over the water in the Gulf of Mexico on or around the 23rd or the 24th, do shoot me an email or message me on Twitter. And by the way, this sighting occurred approximately 80 miles southeast of New Orleans, Louisiana. So this ties in to this other case that I want to talk about today, and I'm sure many of you have seen some of these photographs, maybe all of them. Maybe you've heard a little of the backstory surrounding them. But my best guess is that many of you haven't. I know we're getting a lot of new viewers, and as I said, I've never featured this on the channel before. So what you're seeing here, and I'm going to be going through a set of about 8 different photographs as we go through the video. But these photos here were allegedly taken from a submarine back in 1971. The region that they were captured is said to have been the Arctic Ocean. And before we go further, what you're seeing in these photographs is basically some different ships or unidentified objects that were secretly leaked back in 2015 to a French UFO magazine by an anonymous source. And these were allegedly taken by a submarine that goes by the name of the USS Trepang. And this actually is a real submarine, and it was in the Arctic in March of 1971. That has been confirmed. So in these various sets of photographs, you're going to see some strange objects. You're going to see some cigar-shaped ships. You're going to see some triangular-looking craft. At some points, they look to be hovering, flying above the water, possibly exiting the water, and even on fire, possibly, or one that's been damaged and is either sinking into the water. But we'll get more into that in a second. So, this case first came to light in 2015 when a conspiracy or UFO research website called the Black Vault got a hold of some photographs that had originally been featured in a French paranormal magazine called Top Secret. And so the website Black Vault did a great job of analyzing this case, and I'll put the link to this down in the video description. They tracked down the submarine that these were taken from. They even tracked down 2 of the people on the sub, including the admiral who was in charge of the submarine. And again, as I said, the original source of these photographs remains anonymous to this day. And so an investigation commenced. And what we know so far, as claimed by the original source of the photos, is that first, the photos were taken from this United States Navy submarine, the USS Trepang. The admiral who was on board the submarine was a man by the name of Dean Reynolds Sackett, and this has been confirmed. The submarine is said to have come upon this object by accident as they were in the region on a routine joint military and scientific expedition. It's said that an officer, John Cliquez, was the one who initially spotted the object with the periscope. So right off the bat, we have some indicators that whatever this object is, it's not one of ours, seeing as that the submarine came upon the object accidentally, and that the objects seen in these various photos are various in shape and size. And so it would seem we have multiple unidentified objects here, none of them that have yet to have been identified as anything coming from the Navy at that time. But we'll get more into that in a second. So we also know that apparently on one of the photographs, possibly on the back, there was an inscription that read, quote, "Official photograph not to be released." It's also alleged to have said, quote, "Unauthorized disclosure subject, security certificate SSN 674, criminal sanction." And so again, these words were said to have been inscribed on one of these photographs, possibly on the back, talking about an unidentified, unauthorized disclosure subject. Words like criminal sanction, as well as the phrase, official photograph not to be released. So again, another indicator that whoever took these or had possession of them did not want them released when they were originally taken. So there we have another idea that these craft were not ours, and this is something more than just a test. And so these photographs you're seeing here are actually the original high-resolution scans, and we'll just kind of go through them here. So here we'll start out with the triangular craft. And we have 2 slides here. It looks to be one taken after the other. First, we have this one where we see something that's obviously in a triangular shape. All right, it's not the cigar-shaped object that you saw in the earlier image. So this thing would have to be something else. And it does look like, and I'm just being honest here, it looks like a spaceship. It looks like an alien craft of some sort. And mind you, this was 1971. So then we have another frame where it looks as if we see the same craft that is maneuvering. It's turning on its side, possibly flying away, possibly going down into the water, or maybe it had just come up out of the water. We don't know, but it definitely seems like the same craft or the same object. So now we're going to go to this photograph, which is said to be one of the most amazing of them, where we see this sort of long cigar-shaped craft, but very thin, and it looks very different from some of these other photos where we see a craft or an object that looks pretty much like a cigar, a very thick cigar shape, but we're not seeing that here. This is very thin, and it seems to get thicker right in the middle and then thin out at the ends. So very strange. Looks like it's just sitting there hovering above the water. And again, in all of these photos, you're going to be seeing these lines, this cross going through. And this was common with all periscope photographs, and this can be compared to other periscope photos taken from submarines. They all feature these crisscrosses along with some other lines going down the left or the right side. So let's go to the next one, showing the normal-looking cigar-shaped object hovering over the water. Some have said this is a blimp of some sort, although there doesn't look to be any attachment for a pilot on the bottom like you would normally see. Some have said this could be a balloon. Let's go to the next photograph, showing what could be the same object, although I'm not sure. I mean, it's just enveloped in smoke. And as we zoom in here, you can even see what looks like fire of some sort, or some sort of orange light emanating from a part of this craft here. So here we have another shot of this object that would appear to be entering the ocean. Now again, I don't know if this is exiting or entering, but we see the smoke and we see this object about halfway in the water. Here we see what looks like the same object with either fire, smoke, or possibly water being splashed around it as it enters or exits the ocean here. And lastly, here is again what looks to be the cigar-shaped object. It looks like the smoke has cleared out or possibly moved ahead, and we just see the object sort of just sitting there in the water. So, I don't know if this is the same cigar-shaped object or if this is something different, but whatever this is, it doesn't seem to be on fire as the other one did, and it's all very intriguing, as I'm sure you guys can see. So, on July 8th, 2015, an investigator and a former Navy pilot by the name of Steve Murillo was asked to make a phone call to Admiral Sackett, who was on the ship. He got in touch with the Admiral, who was kind enough to take the call, but apparently steered away from the UFO question, saying that, quote, "I only saw ice." He did apparently agree to check out the photographs through email and couldn't confirm what he was seeing, and certainly agreed that they were very, very interesting. And that is all he would say. So, of course, if you were the admiral of this submarine, he very well could have been told to keep quiet. But he didn't deny that the photographs were interesting, and unfortunately he wouldn't elaborate further. Another man by the name of John Cliquez also was spoken to on the telephone and confirmed that he was also on the USS Trepang in March of 1971. He also said that neither he or anyone else saw anything unusual while in the Arctic. But again, he found the photographs very interesting. So this leaves a new question. Were these two men who were on this submarine that allegedly snapped these photographs told to keep quiet, as we've heard many other military members have been told in the past, including astronauts? You keep your mouth shut about what you've seen. Or the other option and possibility is that these photographs were taken possibly by another submarine that was found to be in the region in the same month, but just a little bit before the USS Trepang entered the area, and that was the USS Skate USN 578. So that is where we are thus far. Now, there are a couple of explanations. All of them are pretty mysterious. A, this is some sort of unknown alien craft, or secret craft that even the Navy didn't know about. Or B, this is a hoax, albeit a very well done and well planned out hoax. Or third, could these be possible weapon system tests? As it is well known that back in the day, the Navy used to hold target practice in the ocean, where they would use these naval target balloons in order to test fire their weapons and hold target practice. Now, you're seeing some pictures here of some of these different balloons from back in the 1930s and even right around the turn of the century, around 1900. So this is 30 years before these 1971 photos were taken. And although there is some resemblance to the cigar-shaped UFO, we can't really account for the triangular-shaped one and the thinner cigar-shaped object. So it's very strange. Could this have been target practice? If so, why didn't the admiral and the other man who were contacted by phone confirm that this indeed was target practice? But they didn't. So, that leaves us, again, with more questions than answers. So, yeah, it's a very, very mysterious case, very intriguing. I will send you over to the blackvault.com so you can read the entire report. Very, very interesting. And yeah, I want to know what you guys think. So, of course, put your comments down below. Email me if you have your own sighting or footage or story you'd like me to talk about. And as always, be sure to stay tuned right here, share, and subscribe because I got a lot more coming, and I will see you all back here in just a bit. Stay safe, guys.